Yesterday, right? What we learned about the string class and its methods, right? So string, we know that it is a variable, non-primitive data type, but Java has provided it, and it stores a sequence of characters, and it is generally used to store human communication, whatever the humans talk. So we the sequence of words and sentences we store in strings, right? So, and there are many methods like length to calculate the length of the string, character at to find out the index of character at that index, index of say, any string or any substring or any character, index of lowercase, uppercase, then contains, equals, is blank or not, whether the string is blank or not, if it ends with some character or sequence of characters or substring, then is empty. So last index of what is the last index of A, if what I mean to say there can be multiple instances of A, occurrence of A, but what is the last index? Then we had strip to trim the white spaces, leading and trailing, two character array. So it converts that string to a character array, then replace all, replace, then we had starts with, whether it starts with this sequence of characters or substring, it returns a boolean value. Then we had substring of 7, right? If you could provide the index 7, then whatever from that index 7, the remaining string will be, substring will be returned. Then this is between this index and this index, whatever the substring, it will return. This previous one will return from that till end, whereas this will return between the indexes, right? So these were the, I think, methods, and like finally split. String is very widely used in automation, so that's why the focus is more on string class. So today also we will be working on string itself. So the agenda we had on day 4 of Java, I think we still have, yeah, strings. So many things like what is the difference between str1 equal to str2 and str1 dot equals str2. We learn about those. How do we, can we search, can you use a string in a switch case? How do you convert a string to an integer and vice versa? How do you check whether the string is empty in Java? Program to calculate the total number of characters in a string, right? And how to reverse a string. So these are the things we will be learning today. So because string class is the most widely used in automation, right? Now we will create a new class more on strings. String, right? So we have this class ready. Now let's go to the first one. What is the difference between equal to and double equal to? So this is what we will first thing we will learn. Okay. So string comparison. String comparison. Now Java has provided there are two ways of comparing, right? String one equal to string two, equal to, and the other one is dot equals. So what's the difference? People will think, say str1 equal to, say, apple, right? And str1. Copy this, make another variable str2. So it also contains apple. So people think if str1 equal to str2, I will print. Okay. So generally people think it will return true. Else false. Generally what people think apple. So obviously both are same. So this will get executed. Right? So let's see what is happening. Whether it comes here or not. Debug mode. Okay, so it stopped at the if condition. Now string 1 is apple, string 2 is also apple. But see what the magic happens. It will not go inside this. Why? It will go to this step. F6. It is gone inside this. The reason is because the address of both these strings are same. This equal to correct comparator compares the address, whereas this stores the, in this scenario, obviously since it was created newly, both the addresses of this string is same, right? Now I was assuming that this addresses would be different, though the where this one is this. Okay, so string 1 equal to apple, string 2 also apple. So I was expecting the, if you remember yesterday, file new, we know that in Java there are two things, right? One is the heap memory and one is the constant pool, right? So there are two things in Java. So here is the apple. The value is stored in the constant pool and the reference is given in from the, is accessing this first one str1 and second one str2. So both are using pointing to this apple value, right? So the address of this apple is stored in str1 and str2, right? So it, since this, in this scenario the address is same, here the value is not contained, right? The value is not here. So that, but since it was new Java program and a very small Java program, both the addresses of str1 and str2 are stored and they are same. So that is why it is. So this equal to this compares the address, and this compares the values. So just remember that in this scenario, the address are matching, so that is why it is true, right? So it comes out now, and then it prints true. But now let me do a dot equals. Same loop I will use inside the main method. So now string 1 dot equals str2, then do the printing. So I will comment this block comment. So how to put a block comment? Select the value and control shift and slash. Okay, so it puts the block comment, or select the value, all the line of code you want to comment, and go to refactor source and add block comment. There is an option. Okay, so it becomes helpful. So many lines of code you want to, and single line comment we already know it is by double slash. It comments that. So now in this scenario, let's run it in debug mode. So it will stop, right? And then we do F6 one by one, or this button. To go one by one in debug mode is this button, or F6. It is written step over is F6. So on the keyboard also you can press F6. Okay, so let's go one by one. So now since it compares the value, so it is matching, it is true. Right, now if I change to Apple 1 and Control S, continue, and let me restart, okay, rerun this program. We'll go again one by one. Now since they are different, it will print false, right? So now we could not see the difference. Why? Because the string 1 and string 2 had the same addresses, right? At the same addresses. That's why we couldn't. This restart option, if you save, it will come from beginning again. So now let me show you the difference where you can actually now uncomment again, select and select that option, remove comment from source, remove block comment. Okay, so you can do that. But sometimes the structure is little different when the code, this one is removed, but it is understandable. Okay, so now if what I will do, I will create one more string and I'll give 3 and I'll give the value should always be same. So now let's see if string 1 is equal to string 3. Let's see what it does. Still it is having the same address, but don't developers and automation programmers always get confused, and they simply think double equal to I can use, like for integers 1 equal to 1, right? 1 equal to 1, right? Always it will be true, right? 1 equal to 1, obviously integer 1 is always equal to 1. So but string, in the case of string, it is not like that. String 1 and string 3, they this double equal to goes and searches the address of string 1 and string 3. So 99% of the time the variables are containing different, they're coming in from different addresses. Obviously, though the value is same, the addresses should be different. But here now, since it's a very small program, the memory allocated is the same memory they have allocated. So that's why this is coming as true. Otherwise, now one more example I'll take. Now I will not have this Apple 2, then I will create string str4 equal to Apple, right? So if you now see what happened, I removed that, right? Garbage collection. Now terminate this garbage collection. It happens, then string 2 is removed. Now the memory address of string, now I will create string 2, str2 equal to Apple. New memory allocation should happen. Let's see now, str1 and str2, because there I removed it, and now I'm creating again after creating 3 and 4. So let's see what it does. Will str1 and str2, still it is containing the same address. That's why it is string 1 hash code is 0 and string 2 also 0. and the value is this, right? See how it is storing. It is storing that apple in form of a series of addresses. So now first A is storing at 97 address. Second character P in 112 and P, see again 112. Since both are PP, it is giving the same address. And then third L is stored at 108 and 4 is stored at 101. So this is how the memory allocation happens, scattered in case of array list, arrays, whereas in character array, it gives consecutive location. So in string 1 also, if you see 19, 97, 112, 108 and 101. So since the memory is same, right? So that is why this is showing as like true. Now let me change the value to Bangalore and string 2 also to Bangalore. So let's restart. So what it does, it still contains the same address because it compares the address. Remember that. So see again, it is the same. B is having 66. A apple A has was 97. Now also 97. N is 110 like that. So many different. A is again 97. So like this, the characters are stored in memory, and this memory is compared. If all the memory are matching, then it becomes true. Otherwise, it becomes false. Okay. So then don't use equal to operator to compare strings, right? Equal to operator compares the addresses. Always use dot contains or dot equals. So now this is dot equals because this method compares the values and this is equal to equal to. Now we already compared that, right? So another third way of doing is, yesterday I already told you, contains. Contains also we can do. So what it will do, contains method, same thing will copy paste and we will do contains string 1 contains strings 2. So what it is saying, if Bangalore contains Bangalore, obviously Bangalore contains Bangalore, so it will again be true. Okay, so let's comment the previous codes by using block comment. Source block comment. Add block comment. What happened? It has commented, but what happened? Okay, see the other way of block comment is starting, ending and starting with a slash and a star and a slash. Right, so commented. Now let's run this. Whatever is there. Okay, one bracket is extra. Missing. Okay, now we'll see. We'll put a debug point here. Always try to run and see in debug mode. In automation world, debug mode is the best mode. If you just run it, you will not know where the error is. Right, so string 1 contains string 2 true. See, Bangalore contains Bangalore. So it says, see, string 1 is having the value Bangalore, string 2 also having the value Bangalore. So here is the way of saying in runtime what it contains. In debug mode, you can do this. You can mouse over the variable and see the values, right? And string 2, both are same. So Bangalore contains Bangalore. So that's why it is coming true. So this method or this method. Always prefer this. Don't use the double equal to method. Double to equal to method does not contain the compare the values. It compares the addresses of the variables. Okay, so be aware of that. Okay, so this is a very important thing in Java in automation where we use the string class extensively. Everything, mostly 50% of our automation tasks will be related to strings, because on the web application, whatever we are going to automate, everything is stored in strings, right? All the uh, Like yesterday I showed you everything. If you see on a web app, our Hyundai app, see everything. These all the values we have to capture, and then they will obviously they are in string format. Even if this is a value of a amount, right? 5,73,400. This we will capture as a string. Then we can convert to a float number or an integer and then use it. But initially we will be storing them as string. All of the values what we see on a web application are in form of strings. Everything, see, everything is a string because this is what humans understand. Strings are the language which humans understand, right? See, everything is English language or any other language. If you are working on some international internationalization, right? This app may be converted into other language. There might be an option given here, right? There might be an option to convert this, but this does not have it. But most of the website nowadays are having an option to convert to English or uh, Mexican language or Kannada language or Telugu. So they will have that option. So even though whatever you do, convert also to any other language, it will most of the data we will capture in form of strings. That is why we are giving so much importance and focus on string class. So we learned yesterday all the methods, but then today we saw that there is a two methods, three methods I will say. The contains also I will add to this, the contains. So contains is the third method we can use to compare, right? So first one uses the compares the address of the strings. This equals to address, compares the value, and this compares whether the first string contains the second string or not, right? So first string contains the second string. Remember that. Now the same thing in Bangalore, first string Bangalore, and then I will say I remove E and I will just leave it, right? Now string 1 is BANGLOR, whereas string 2 is BANGLORE. Now what will happen? It will say false, right? Just do debug and see it compares. So it does not, obviously it does not contain, a little bit less characters are available. So it prints the false, right? So this is how we compare the strings. Next, what we have is, can we use a string in switch case? So in Java, right? So those people who are new to Java, switch case. What is a switch case? For them, I'll tell you, is a conditional switch case. Switch case is, I mean, it's like for loops, while loops, do while loops, right? If conditions, those are all conditional loops, right? So the switch case is one of the conditional loop. Conditional loop. What is the format? What is the format? Very simple. Switch. Then you provide the uh, value 1, right? And then you give a switch 1, open the bracket, then case, right? Inside the case, you will say 1 or numeric 1 or string 1. In case 1, do something, right? And then say SYSO hello or say 1. And then you have to put a break statement. So I'll tell you, let me complete the cases. I'll put a little bit more cases to be more clear. So now case 2, right? And say TW. So this is one of the widely used mechanisms in automation also. Then one more case. All the errors will come. Let it come. So errors are part of our life. Case 3, right? And then 3. What it is saying is assert expected, right? So what it does, switch case is a format where we have to pass the value we want to compare, right? So here we are passing 1. So now it will go to this case and search where is 1. 1 is here. So it will print this and break out, right? So this is how we can match whether it is like this is for matching the conditions. And then if the condition matches with whatever case, how many cases, there can be thousands of cases, right? And then we have this, and then finally it will complete this, and then it is done. So now how do we correct this? So case syntax error, token case assert expected. Assert, what assert it is expecting. This is the basic thing, right? Switch one, case. Case one. How do this? One case assert expected. Okay, anyways, so what the intent of this program is, I was going to tell you if we can pass a string in this or not, inside this, like 1, right? Whether we can pass string or not in the switch case, like this, whether we can pass or not. The answer is yes, we can, right? Case 2 and case 3. Right, so in this switch also, not just integers, we can pass strings. So based on the value, it will execute. Now if I pass 1, if I change to 3 here, it will go and search way to case 3 matching case, and then it will print this section. So I'll correct this code and come back. But this is the standard format. Maybe there is some glitch. This is the format where we have switch case. So this is the value to be compared, and then out of all these cases, which one matches with the passing value in switch, it will go and execute that, right? Now let's go to so the answer is yes, we can use strings also to use inside the switch case statement. Next one is how do you convert a string to an integer, right? So let's comment this block of code again, go to source, add block comment, and then see it comments. Or the other way I told you, start with a slash and a star, and then end with a star and a slash. Star and a slash. Like this also can come. Now convert string to integer and vice versa. So say for example, you have string and you stored 1000, right? Now I want to use this value string x equal to, or say salary equal to 10,000, or say 30,000. Nowadays in 10,000 we can't survive. 30,000, 3,000, 30,000. Okay. So now I want to convert this salary string, which has this is containing a value, numeric value. I want to convert to an integer and use it. How do I do it? So there is a method which Java is providing. Say integer int y equal to integer class dot parse int, and then you provide your salary. Okay, so integer y equal to integer dot parse int. So what it does, this class integer class has a java.lang.integer as a class. See, the integer class wraps a value of primitive data int into an object. An object of type integer contains a single field whose type is int. So integer.parseInt converts this string salary into an integer and stores in the y variable, And then when you say SY, what happened? Control space. Something else is happening. Okay, so there is a reason for that also, because so now if I print Y, so what will happen? See, now it is saying error. See this. What is the error? Print ln system.out.println y. Why it is throwing an error here? What is the reason? Tell me. So will the system.out.println take integers? Should, right? But why it is not showing it? Dot to, no. What is the reason? What is the reason? There is a Project Explorer. Let me create a new class called convert string to integer and have a main method. So we'll go back here, copy the same thing, cut it out, Control X will cut, and let's remove this line, paste it here. So there, because of the other error, so this also it was showing error, right? So now print Y, right? So what will happen? Let's see it. Run in debug mode, save it, and now it stops. So salary is having 30,000. I converted that 30,000 string to an integer using integers as parseInt, and then I am storing in an integer variable y, and then I'm printing system.out.println y, right? So it prints that value. See here, now this is an integer, y is an integer. So let me stop it. So y will not have all the string methods now. See, y dot, there is no availability of methods. Why? Because y is a integer now. But salary, it is a string, this one, right? It has a, so we will have to use it here, salary dot. So if you see, salary still has so many methods, but y dot, nothing is available because that's an integer, right? So that's the way to convert string to integer. And then this also is widely used. Why? Reason is, say on your Hyundai application, right? You have, I told you, you have this value 5,73,400. So I captured this from UI in a string. But since this is a price of the car, price is not a string, price is a number, right? So I have to convert it into integer. So there I will say this is price of car, right? Car. Now price of car is, what was the value? 573400. 573400. So, and then I have to convert that, right? I captured in the string using driver dot find element dot xpath of this, right? Xpath, and I capture that as a string because find elements return an object, and object has a method called get string. So if you take that get string, it gives me a string. So now after having that value as a string, I cannot use it, right? 573400 as a string of no use for me, right? Now what I will do, since I want to use it as an integer, I have to convert it. So integer dot parseInt, and price of that car, if you pass inside that variable name, price of the car, this will convert to an integer and give it to you, right? And then when we print it, it prints this value. So we get the value, right? So now, Sometimes we need the opposite also. Now, vice versa, convert integer to string. How do you do it? Say I have integer d equal to, or say attendance equal to, I have my 98% attendance, I have, right? I have this value, right? Now I want to convert this to string and use it, right? So it's a very simple way. Now I want to convert this string attendance in string format, or string as string, right? Equal to attendance dot, Java provides a very simple way to string. Sorry, attendance dot to string. So this method it provides, and we can convert this. What it is saying, cannot invoke string on a primitive integer. Why is that? Primitive integer, how does it matter? So this generally we should be able to convert to attendance dot to string, primitive type. So let me, what I will do, say for example, string attendance is equal to 98, and then again the value of local variable attendance string is not used. That's fine, but it is, in this case it is allowing string to string. We don't need, right? We want to convert integer to string. So integer to string. Let me use this here, integer y, and then I convert that attendance to a string value, and then I say y to string. Again it is saying it is not allowing primitive to convert to string. Type cannot invoke. This is the new implementation, I think. But yeah, the toString method is available to convert anything to string, right? So let me check these two things, switch case and this switch case. Where is the switch case? Yeah, switch case also, and this toString. But toString is the method to convert your integer value to a string value. So remember that. I'll fix this and I'll come back on that, okay? And the parseInt method is the method in integer class. It is not available in string class. That also you remember. In interviews, they might ask, how do you convert string to integer? So say integer class has a method called parseInt. It parses the string into an integer and then returns it, an integer value. So we can use this as a integer. And similarly, the vice versa, to convert integer to string is using toString, right? Now let's go to the next one. How do you check whether the string is empty? Right, yesterday I think I already told you this one. Is empty is there, right? Is empty method is already there. So say for example, string x equal to, or h equal to, new variable I'm taking, x already I have used. So now I want to see whether this is empty or not. Let's comment this and this so that we don't have the error. Now y h dot is empty. See, there are two methods, is blank and is empty. So is empty. So now what will happen? It will return true. Since h is not containing anything, there is no value at all. So let's put a debug point here and debug it. It will stop here also because there was a debug point there also. Remove that. Click this. See, F8. F6 is 1 by 1. F8 is to the next debug point. So it goes to the next debug point and stops there. So now it will, what it will return? True. Why? Because x H does not have anything. Now what yesterday I think I already told you, if it even has white spaces, what it will do? Let's run and see. So there are two methods, is empty and see now since as white space also needs a memory location, so it is not empty. But now there is another method, is blank, right? Is blank. So is this method going to return true? See, true, because it does not considers white space as values, because white space is of no use. It's just an empty space in free for our eyes. White space does not make any value, right? So it is still, I'm thinking H does not contain anything. But there are two methods, is empty and is blank. So is empty will consider, because a space also requires some memory to be, memory location is assigned to each of these characters. See, one space, two, three, four, five, six. Six memory locations have been provided using Unicode characters, and then they are not actually completely blank or empty, you can say. So the is blank considers white spaces as blanks, right? And is empty, EPY, this does not consider white spaces as blanks. So we start. The first one is blank. It is saying true because it ignores the white spaces, and is empty, does not ignore white spaces, it shows false. So this is also very critical. So what happens is, on the application, right, whichever we are going to test. So here, right, Hyundai space Onic Q 5 dot, right, and the next is the all electric SUV power your world. So in automation validations, in your manual test cases also, sometimes what we will have to validate, we will have to validate whether the white space, this one string is not appearing. So we sometimes they make a change, there is a requirement. So don't show the name of this, just show a car image and say Hyundai, or don't write the this one header text. So in that scenario, what we will do, we will obviously this earlier it was Hyundai Iconic, but now they just commented that code in UI, right? So it will appear as white space. So we'll capture that and see whether that is empty or not, right? So using is empty or is blank, we will validate that, right? And there are so many other scenarios where you will use is empty and is blank, right? Is empty means whether the string does not contain anything. So if it is empty, then say that okay, we found that the value is itself not coming. So when I say driver.find element and give the XPath, or by say class or by ID or by name or by XPath, I capture that, and capture that object, right? In driver.find element returns an object. Now object.getString gives the string of the value. Now getText gives the text of the value. Now getText, if the object is not returning, it is empty, then we will throw an error. We'll put a test-ng condition where I will say let's fail that, right? So we'll work on test-ng extensively, because test-ng will help you to execute bunch of test cases, your regression test cases, and we will have a report. This many failed, this many passed. So there at the rate test we'll use, right? So we'll have a condition where in case of fail scenario, create a report separately, how to rerun the failed test cases. So those things will come in future. But let's complete the Java part first, because Java is the base of our automation. Selenium is a tool, right? But Java is your base where you will actually code, and then you will use Selenium API. Selenium is just an API, a third party API provided by Selenium, right? one company where it has some classes, right, and interfaces. So those classes and interfaces is packed as a jar file, right? And we put in the form.xml that dependency. That jar file gets downloaded and gets stored in one of the folder and RPS under Maven dependency. And that jar file we are importing in our classes, right? See, whatever Selenium methods we want to use in any of the class under this package, we will import, right? We will have to import this. So whenever we write driver dot Selenium, say where is it? Web driver equal to new Chrome driver, right? So when we do this, see it is throwing error first, but when I mouse over, it is allowing me to import. The whole package is there here, right? In Maven dependency. See, Selenium is here, that jar file, a bundle of classes and interfaces. Now I want to use one of them inside from that bundle, which is WebDriver class. So I will import it, at least in my program, in this class, right? I want to import. So I have to import this. So it gets imported, and then I will import this also. So two classes got imported. So now only these two classes will be available for me. Now if I do driver, and then all the methods of that class is available for me, right? Close, equals, find elements, get current URL, right? Get title. So this is the driver, right? ToString. See, this is the ToString method which I was talking. Returns a string representation of the object, any object. In general, ToString method returns the string that textually represents this object. The result should be in concise but information representation that is easy for a person to read. It is recommended that all the subclasses override this method. So always we have to use this method, and we can convert any other format like float, double, or say array, right, to a string. Then it converts that value as a string and gives us to us, right? So that's how the import mechanism works, right? So now ToString, I'll show you one more use of ToString. Say for example, you have array string arr, right? Or I will say integer array arr equal to, and I will store some values, new integer of say 5, right? So this is how you declare arrays, right? Sorry. Now I will assign a value arr of 1 equal to 1, arr of 2. This is how we assign values to array. Little tedious, but this is the way, right? All your passwords and all are stored like this in system. 3 is equal to 3. Then we have arr of 4 equal to 4, arr of 5 equal to 5. So we have this 5 because the length is 5, so we have stored 5. Now I have this array. Now I want, this is containing integers. Now let me see what happens if I call the ToString method SYSO, and I will say arr dot ToString. See, this ToString is available for me now. Earlier there was an error which was working through, right? So now let me run in debug mode and show you. What is the error in this? This will be here in red color. Click on this. This import is not required. This see, now we have removed those two steps, driver dot find element. So these two imports are wasted here. Simply they have imported and it is saying the import is never used. So we can remove them. So Java has this inbuilt mechanism to show anything which is not used. See here also one yellow color you can see. the value of local variable attendance is not used. We have used declared this, assigned a value, but nowhere we are using in the program. So that's why it is marking, highlighting it. Okay, so you have to always try to see if anything which are not, because this is memory wastage, right? So if you're not using that, why are you keeping it? So generally we should avoid it. Now let me debug it. So now we have assigned it, and then we come to see what happened. Index out of bound. So what happened? We should always start with 0. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. And 4. So if you have to store 5 values, index will go till 4 only, right? So it will throw. So now it stopped here, right? So array dot toString. So now that toString method compares and converts that array into a string, but this is the address of the array variable. See, value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But it converts to a string, and we cannot use this because it gives us the address, not the value. So this is how two strings are used, right? It will not give you the value, but we can still convert that array to a string. Now let's go. Is blank we learned to compare whether the string is empty, but it considers white spaces as ignores the white spaces, whereas is empty does not ignore. And we learned about how do we convert a string to an integer using the parseInt, integer.parseInt, right? It converts that integer to string to an integer. So the next one is total number of characters in a string. How do I calculate the total number of characters in a string, right? So there will be many interviewers who will ask you to work in interviews. Most of the questions will be related to string class, like find whether the string is palindrome, right? How do you reverse a string? So we'll work on those also. So now we'll say count the characters of a string. Now say for string city equal to Hyderabad, right? So we have this string. I want to count the characters. So how many characters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what we will do? There is a method called character add, right? We know that. So we will use a for loop and use this method to count the characters. So, or you can say ct dot. Sometimes, this Eclipse also behaves. Ct dot. Why we are not getting? Is there any other issue? Ct dot. Any other error? What is the error? Multiple markers in this line. What multiple markers I have given? Simply I have given string city equal to Hyderabad and city dot I am doing. So what we will do is sometimes it behaves differently. So we will create a new class called count characters in a string. Always try to use camel case. It's easy to understand. And class name generally should be capital as the standard. So now if I change here and save it, and it will throw an error. So rename, right? So now if I do rename, it goes and changes the actual name of the file also. right? So use capital for class name and variable should start with small but camel case. So what was it? Yeah, city, Hyderabad, city dot. See, now it is not throwing that error, right? So Eclipse, we sometimes some issues with our Eclipse tool also. It will throw errors. City dot. So not city dot length, right? We already have a method called length. But how do I not use this? And instead of they will interview will ask, can you tell me how do I not use an inbuilt method like length or size or whatever, and count the total number of characters in a string. So there in that scenario, we have to say we have to use a for loop for int I equal to 0, I is less than city dot length and I plus plus. Then if, right, or you just put a condition character at count. You put give a counter here. Integer count equal to initialize with 0, right? And then say count plus plus, right? So this will give you a counter, but then I want to make sure I have a value at this character. So say for example, Hyderabad is a city, right? Is a beautiful city. UTIFUL. Right? So now I don't want to count the spaces, right? So I want to only count the characters. So what I will do, if city dot char at index your I, then only you do the counter. Okay? Otherwise, don't do the counter. Type mismatch. So what is happening? Character at and city is type mismatch. So what do you mean by type mismatch? The character at is expecting what? So now if you see character at, right? So this method, if you go inside this method, see what it is expecting. It returns a character and it takes the value index, right? Integer. So now character at. So now city is a string and dot character at. So I'm passing the index, which is an integer, right? Everything is correct, but still what it is saying, the type mismatch cannot convert from character to Boolean. So we cannot put this in. We cannot character at returns a character. So we cannot put like that. So what we have to do, we have to say character dot city dot character of I is equal to also if I put it becomes a Boolean condition, right? So how do we do it? So let's say if we'll put an if condition is city dot character dot I equals to uh, character it returns, right? Equals to how do I put a value? So then only you have to increment the counter. You cannot increment the counter until there is a space, like space is not a character, but though it requires memory location. So we'll see if city dot character at I equal to true. So will this work? It will also not work, right? So we will see how do I use this character at. So let me, character at is the method which gives the character at a specific index. Or we can do character A or C equal to string city dot char at. So returns the character value of specified index, and index ranges from 0 to length -1. The first character value of the sequence is an index 0, the next at 1, and so on for an array indexing. So throws index out of bound. So all the methods details are available here. Return the character value of the specified index. The first value is 0. So character at, and we will say I, right? So what it did, and put a semicolon. So now it is not throwing error because ct dot character of I. So first it stores here, right? C, then count plus plus. If now again if I put this in C, if C, will it work? Because it is a Boolean condition. Change C to Boolean. So if I say Boolean, then will this work? No, because character add returns a character. So what we have to do? So let's do it and run the program. So for the starting with index 0, ct of length -1, always remember this, and I plus plus, character C is equal to character at I, right? Now count plus plus, count plus plus. So what it will do? Let's convert string to integer. No, this is the other one, right? So debug, right click, debug as Java application. So now it starts, right? Character C. So what is the character C containing? H, and increment it. Go back again, the second value is Y, right? Third one was, we already crossed that, but it stored it, and counter, right? Next value is R. Next is A. B. A. D is done. Now the white space is coming. So what it is storing? See, there is a white space here, right? So how do I count only the characters? So now what we will do? We will put a condition. Now it is giving me a loop, right? So now if C equal to white space, right? Then don't count. Okay? Don't do anything. Only in else condition you increment the counter. Else count plus plus. So what I'm doing? If C equal to C dot to strings, what is that character I'm getting, right? C equals. See, here we can now C dot, C is a character. So now if I have to compare character, if C character equal to empty, what it is saying? Incompatible operand types, character and string. Okay, this is a string. Okay, yeah. So single quote. Sorry, like this, right? So this is a space character. The character always it goes in single quotes. So if this is a single quote, then don't count increment the counter, and then otherwise you increment the counter. So let's now this counter will totally count only the characters. Come out of for loop and here SYSO and print the counter. Right, so directly we will complete the loop and wait till the system.out.println. See now count is having 24. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Space is not counted. I is 10. S is 11. Space not counted. 12. Space not counted. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Space not counted. 22, 23, 24. So 24 is the count of the characters, ignoring the spaces. So we have to use this character at, right? The length is also giving me, but length gives the length of the entire string considering the space also. right? So now if you print this length, right, I can directly print it here. We don't need to go inside the loop city, right? Dot length. See what it does. It prints 29. 24 is the total characters, 25, 26, 27, 28. But why it is extra? 24 was the total length. Why it is extra? Oh, gee, I think 24, 25, 26, 27. It should be 28 only. Why it is saying 29? Let me count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Yeah, the total length is 29. And when I count only the characters, so let's go inside the for loop and execute it. So the count is, oh yeah, we did length -1, right? So we are going starting from index 0, right? So first index is 0, and then when Hyderabad H is encountered, so it says, okay, Hyderabad is not an empty space, is counted, starts from H, right? So it is counting from 0. So when 0 to 24 is 25 values. 25, then space is 26, 27, 28, and 29. Total is 29. So this is how you can calculate only the characters of a string. Only the characters, right? So this is also used widely. Now how to reverse a string, right? Let's write a new program, reverse a string. Right? How do I reverse a string? Say string original, right, equal to madam, right? Madam is a palindrome. Right now I want to reverse this, and if both the strings are the same, I will say that the string is a palindrome, right? So that way we can use the reverse. So now what we have to, there are a couple of ways to reverse a string, right? First one is the like a normal approach where you use the same for loop. So what we will do, we will use this for loop. I go character by character, right? Go character by character, ORI, sorry. So what I will do, I will start from the big last. I start from here, okay? So say I will start from length -1, and then set I greater than 0, I plus I minus minus. So I'll go the reverse way. GTH, right? I equal to length -1. What is same? Method length is undefined for the type reverse string. Length, okay. I is ORI dot length -1. Okay. So what I'm doing, I'm going till the last first, and I am going to store that. Go to end, take the character, store in a new string. Take the second one, take the third one, take the fourth one, take the fifth one, and store. Right? So it will store from the last till the first. So I'll get a string. So we will do for, say, for example, the string I will change Bangalore, right? Now what I will do, I've gone till last, right? The for loop started. So what I will do, character C, character at. Now this is ORI. I've changed the variable name. So ORI. ORI. If it is empty, don't do it, right? That condition also we can put, or simply remove this. right? Now string reverse equal to use this, right? Keep storing. Control D removes the line. So now this character at I gives a character, right? So you have to convert that to string, right? Still what it is saying, cannot respond on primitive, the same error, right? So what we will do, we will store this character by character into a group of characters, right? So we will, this we will declare here. Initially it is empty. So these are all part of the programming. So now reverse equal to ORI plus, I mean to say we have an empty string. In the empty string, we are going to store the character, right? So reverse equal to reverse plus ORI. So what it is doing, you have this empty string reverse, right? Here I declared it is an empty string. And I have to keep adding the characters now. So in the empty string, keep adding whatever characters you encounter. After you go to the end, you encounter E, store in reverse. So reverse equal to empty plus E. Then empty plus E is stored in REV, right? So let's do this now. It will keep looping back, and finally we will get the all the elements in the reverse condition. So we'll put a full debug point here, and then right click, debug as Java application. So it stops here. So now I'll see. So what is the value of I? If I just execute this, I is giving 8 because Bangalore total length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but 0 to 8, right? So total is starts with index -1 I am doing, right? So I equal to length -1. So I am going till 8. 0 to 8 is 9 characters. Just remember that. Index starts from 0. 0 to 8 is 9 characters, and Bangalore also is 9 characters. So I have gone till the last one. Now, what is this? How do I check? What is the value? Now, I is 8, right? Now go right click and do a watch. See, these all are during execution. We can see E. The value has come as E, right? So what I'm doing, I'm storing in reverse. Now let's F6 again. Again, it will go to the next one. See R. You can see in the right side R. So this R is coming. And what is the reverse containing now? See ER, right? It will keep adding O, right? Then L, and see, keep checking your reverse value. See ROL, keep doing, and finally you have, see, I did length -1, so that's why let's change it to length, and I is greater than equal to 0. I missed that, so let's run it. So we have BANGALORE. So I got a reverse. So this is how you should reverse a string, right? In a traditional approach. Traditional approach in the sense in a longer way, right? It's a little longer. There are shortcuts available nowadays. There's a string buffer class which gives a method itself directly. So that also I'll tell you. But before that, let's understand this clearly. So I have a string Bangalore. So I will now change it to madam, right? To find whether it is palindrome or not. So I have original string madam, and I will store the reverse of that madam into another variable called reverse, and then I'll put a condition if both the, right, what is the method? If original string dot equals the reverse, right, then say so this I have to remove it, right? What it is saying, tokens misplayed. Okay, for loop ends where it ends here. Okay, this I have to remove. right? So if now what it is saying, one more bracket. So all these are errors which should resolve one by one. If original string equals the reverse string, then say it is a palindrome. Right? So one more extra is not required. So you have the, okay, sorry, one more. Okay. So now we will see whether this string madam is palindrome or not. If it is reversing and matching same, see what it is doing, it printed, right? Madam, reverse, and now we will put a condition and say, okay, this is equal, so it is a palindrome. So this is how a traditional way we are going to compare the two strings and then finding out whether they are palindrome or not, to reverse it. So this is a longer approach, but there is a shorter approach also. The shorter approach is there is a string builder class. String builder be equal to new string builder, right? Now this string builder class already provides a reverse method. See here, right? So if I use this and pass this original, right, and store that again in the reverse new, okay. What it is saying, the method reverse is in the type of unit applicable for argument string. So now see directly it is not going to take a string variable. So what it does, just see, you have to open and see, right? So reverse, where is reverse? Where is reverse? String builder reverse, control F, reverse. See, string builder reverse. So there is no, nothing is required, just do reverse. So what we have to do, don't need this one, directly we have say b dot reverse class, but it should accept some parameter, right? Wait just a minute. That's a string builder object, super dot reverse, but where is the overridden method? There should be some overridden method also. Okay, let me go to the class name. String builder, extend abstract string builder, this reverse. So this reverse last, and this is the another method, reverse abstract string builder. So here the same, see the same condition we are doing here also, the length -1, right, greater than equal to 0, j minus minus. It internally does the same thing for you, right? So the loop is same. If you go this is the jar file, okay, jar file. Inside that jar there is an abstract string builder, right? And it has a method called reverse, which is saying this value and then the counter and then return this, right? So it returns the reverse, right? So the way to use is, close that. I was showing you how the internal this one will work. So string builder object we have, and we have this string builder dot reverse, and then what it takes, the terminal can convert string builder to string. Okay, so now it does not store in a string. So let's say ORI, right? So what is saying again, method reverse in the type string builder is not applicable for argument string. Remove argument to match reverse. Okay, directly it is giving me reverse, but how do I know what reverse it is going to do? So ORI dot reverse, no, ORI does not have a reverse method, is undefined of the type string. So B dot reverse, and then what it does the reverse. Okay, this also I have to check. This is a I mean to say inbuilt method in the string builder class, which helps you to reverse a string directly. This is a longer approach, right? We did a reverse and found whether the string is, now Bangalore is not a palindrome, right? Bangalore is not a palindrome. I'll just comment this, right? And then run this. So it will not print. It will just print the reverse. But this condition, it is not. So I put an else condition. Else condition, it is not a palindrome, right? So now if I run this, it will go to that loop where else condition is aggregated and this is the reverse. So it is not a palindrome, right? So the other way is using the string builder reverse method, which I have commented. I will tell you tomorrow. Okay, so there is some issue with this. So how do I uncomment? Control Shift and backslash. Front and backslash, both the things we have to use. It will uncomment that. So string builder b equal to new string builder b dot reverse. But what parameters it takes. So directly if I do reverse, what it will do? B dot reverse. There is a method, right? We already saw that. B dot reverse. So what it is doing, note that the reverse operation may result in producing surrogate pairs that were this overrides reverse in abstract. Yeah, that's the parent class whose method it has overridden. Causes causes this character sequence to be replaced by the reverse of the sequence. If there are any, what is the example? They have given an example. No, right? Let's see here. They have not given an example also. Character value, not the length in character values, but then b dot reverse of ORI. ORI. What is it saying? Method reverse is remove argument. String builder is not applicable for argument string. Why is that? Sometimes I also get confused, right? It's a little strange. String buffer also has that same thing. The method reverse is not applicable for the type string. Anyways, okay. I will check this tomorrow. I'll come back. There is a method which we have already seen. So if I do dot reverse, but what the type, the parameter it takes, right? So this is the string buffer. So there are two string buffer and string builder classes that also we'll discuss. In interview, they ask about this string builder and string buffer. So what's the difference and what it has advantage over string class, right? So there are many interviewers who will ask this. This is also one of the important topic, string builder and string buffer. There are many differences also. I think 4 or 5 core differences string between string buffer and string builder. So this string buffer and string builder, right? So string now it was the base class they created in Java, but during the usage of this string class, they found so many limitations, right? All those limitations they again used, improved the string class, and they did not want to touch the base class, the core one. Let's create a new class and put everything. So string class is a core. Now over that, the whatever limitation string had, right? The memory management, on the memory management side, string has limitation on the memory management side, not on the processing of strings. String class handles strings very nicely, but on the memory management, how the strings characters in of the string are stored, right? So there were some limitations which people observed during execution. So like sometimes the random values were getting assigned. Memory also got scattered all over the RAM, right? So different locations. So to solve all those problems, there are so many time and space complexities they saw. So they resolved those, and then they introduced string buffer and string builder. So they have efficient way of handling things, and there are many methods they created. So to these methods they created, so for the end user to use them, like reverse, like say so many methods. Okay, I think we have to pass this ORI here, right? and then reverse. RSE, as I can remember, and then SYSO. Inside this, I will put this. So we have to pass that object, right, string object, and then print it. So let's see. This debug I will remove. See, now it came here. What I did, it creates told that Bangalore is not a palindrome till here. Now I have created a string buffer object, pass the string, and then I'm doing a reverse. So let's see whether it prints or not. I have 6. So it prints, right? See, this is what I was going to show you. So you have to pass the string object here itself. So string buffer B equal to new string buffer ORI. ORI is our main string. So you passing this object reference here, like value Bangalore. Now it controls that string. This string buffer object controls that. Now we have a reverse method which gives the value. So same condition now you will put here, right? Control C, and then we can find out if ORI equals to reverse. So now what we will do, we will put this B dot reverse here. If ORI equals B dot reverse, right, then show that it is a palindrome. So here this we will comment for some time so that we are not confused. So now we have this original string Bangalore, reverse is empty. We are not going to use this. Also we can comment. Now string buffer, we have passed the string Bangalore here. Now we are reversing it. This is for printing. This also will not use. Now if ORI equals B dot reverse, B dot reverse gives me the reverse of ORI. So if they are same, then it is a palindrome, right? Otherwise it is not a palindrome. So what it is, some marker is coming here. Unlikely a type of equals string buffer seems to be unrelated to string. So B dot reverse unlikely argument, but it is not throwing an error. So okay, let's see it. Debug it, save it. So it comes here. Now it will say I am going to compare my original string Bangalore with the reverse of Bangalore, and if I am finding it same, equals method obviously finds they are same or not character by character. It is not, so it is not a palindrome. Now let's use with madam, right? Restart. Now if it will again it will compare, but see it is again throwing reverse. Why? Reason is original has madam and B dot reverse. B dot reverse also, let's see how do I check in runtime. B dot reverse is having the value as madam, but we have to convert to string. So B dot reverse dot to string. Right now it will work. That was giving an object. So if you compare to string, then it will work. See, it is a palindrome. So what was happening before? I'll just explain you again. So here it it was saying compare Bangalore or madam equals B dot reverse. But B dot reverse, if you see and go to your class here, where it is showing, it is not going directly reverse. Reverse. See, it returns a string buffer object, right, in a synchronized form. It does not return the string. It returns a string buffer object. So that is why we have to convert that to a string, because obviously our original is a string. So to compare to string, we have to do to string. Just see, this is the way where we can convert our any object, integer, any other data type to string is the toString method. So now if I compare, it will compare and say it is a palindrome, right? So this is how string builder or string buffer classes are there available with the reverse method. So we learned how to reverse a string using character at, counting the character at from the last till the first and storing it in a reverse variable and comparing it. And the second way is using the string builder class for string buffer class. Both have the same method, but there are some advantages and disadvantages. Differences between string builder and string buffer tomorrow or maybe day after I'll tell you. But both of them had the reverse method, and then using that reverse methods and converting to a string, we can compare with our original string and then decide whether that is palindrome or not. So we can reverse it, right? So this is how the reverse works. Okay, I think we are good. Any questions you have? Any doubts? Yeah, I think we have completed our 4th day of Java. How is it going? I mean to say, are you able to grasp things or it is going too fast? Hello. So what did we learn today? We learned reversing of a string, then we learned character at, right? And we learned what we learned. So many things. 5 things we learned. Equals to, equal to, equal to, equal to, equal to compares the address, whereas dot equals contains the value, compares the value. Then how do I use switch case? The switch case I will tell you, but the answer is we can use a string in the switch case. Then how do you convert a string to an integer? Using parseint, P-A-R-S-E-I-N-T, integer dot parseint, and pass the string, it converts that integer string into an integer, and vice versa means to string. And how do you check whether string is empty or not? Is empty or is blank? Is empty will consider white spaces as actual memory locations, whereas is blank will not consider that, it will ignore. And program to count the number of characters using the character at, right? And then reverse is, there are 2 methods. One is the inbuilt method in string builder or string buffer class, the reverse method, or we can use a for loop, go to the end of the string and come back using a for loop in the opposite direction. So those who are new to Java, so you should know that how do I go to the end of the string is, you go to the length minus 1, right? Length minus 1. So length will give the total length 5, but since indexing starts from 0, so length minus 1 we have to do. So 0 to 4, go to 4. Index 4 is this, index 3, 2, 1 and 0. M is 0. So that's what, always remember this. If I don't use length minus 1, it will not work. It will throw out of error, out of bound exception. Right? So this is how things are there in Java. Okay. Tell me, are you guys understanding? At least some responses. Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please practice these things in your system also. Always have a habit of practicing. Just don't wait till the next day. You will learn something different and then keep forgetting, right? Until you don't practice, you will not know. So keep practicing. So you all know these are the very basics of Java, right? We are considering everyone in this class, in this group, even an experienced engineer or who is non-IT, right? Both combinations are available. So I'm teaching in a way where everyone understands it. For those who are experienced, they will have a refresher. For them, it is a refresher, right? They will refresh their concepts and base foundation. Their foundation will become more stronger. Whereas for those who are from non-IT, for them maybe it might go over your head for some time. But if you write a small programs, very small, see, if you see how many programs we have written till now, so many, right? Very small, one liners, three liners. So keep practicing, right? So these all are the available methods in same program. We can write, practice all the methods of string class, variables, right? How to declare a variable, different character, integer, float, double. Then string is our base foundation of automation. So spend little bit more time on string class, right? So this is more about strings today. So we did a reverse of string, then counting the characters, reversing, converting string to integer, arrays also, array list also, differences between arrays and array list. So these all are the very base of our Java, right? Which we are going to use in automation. Okay. So I think we are good. We'll meet tomorrow again. Any questions you have, you can let me know. In any installation issues till now, are you able to execute the programs on all your laptops?
Yes, sir. We are able to execute. I'm able to execute.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Yeah. So if you are able to execute, keep practicing these small code snippets, then confidence will come. Until you don't practice, the confidence will not come. So if you see, when you execute even a two-liner code and it prints that, right, SYSO, and it on the console you see the value, you get the confidence. You feel happy also. So keep practicing. Okay. So bye bye. Let's meet tomorrow for more
Sure,
on
sir.
that
Sir, can you share the day-wise syllabus plan?
device.
That day-wise plan you have, right? Syllabus.
Oh, day-wise
So that,
plan. Yeah,
yes.
I will send it to Chetan. You can take it from him. Okay.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.